world, welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland. On this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we talk about everything fragrance related. If you have an interest in fragrances, then you're in the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the Fresh Squad today. It'll be the easiest thing you do all day. And what that's going to do is increase, enhance, elevate, evolve, and improve your freshness. Your freshness is you bringing your best self into every situation, treating others with respect, understanding, and kindness, carrying yourself with elegance and class. And we use fragrance as at least a starting place for that. You'll feel it, others will smell it.
Today we have a stupid video.
This is just dumb, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to share with you 10 of my favorite fragrance brands out of so many that I have. I would rather have made this a video of every fragrance brand that I love and the fragrances I love from them, but
you guys don't want to be here for an hour.
So I chose 10 of my favorites. I could keep this going as a series, so keep that in mind. This is not like shutting the door, the most definitive 10 and everything else is subpar. Not what's going on here. I just had to choose 10 that I tend to gravitate towards the most. I wanted to bring it to you guys and tell you what I like about these brands. I chose 2 fragrances from each brand that I own that I love the most, at least out of what I have. So if there's a fragrance from a certain brand I'm going to mention that you like and have and I don't mention it, it's because I probably don't have it, or maybe I haven't tried it, or it's just not my favorite, and that's okay. Or if I don't mention one of your favorite brands, same goes for that. So keep that in mind. Let's jump right into it. No more wasting time. Now we do have an honorable mention. The honorable mention goes to the house of Zaharoff. And the reason why they're an honorable mention, not because they're not a great house, it's a fantastic house, but some people would say it's a conflict of interest. I do have a fragrance that I released in collaboration with Zaharoff called Brass and Soul. I think it's a wonderful fragrance. I think a lot of you guys would agree if you have it or have smelled it, and I'm really proud of it. I'm not even including this as my favorite from the house though, because I have something to do with that. So 2 fragrances from Zaharoff that I absolutely love are actually the 2 newest. That would be Signature Rosé and Signature Tabac. I think his fragrances are getting better and better and better, and they were already amazing. He's really infusing very distinctive personalities into his fragrances now with each new release, creating a bit of a rainbow, if you will. There's just such a wide variety, such a wide array of personalities to choose from, but everything is based on the original DNA, the original signature pour homme, which is a beautiful fragrance. I still love it to this day. And everything is built on that base, and it just takes it in so many directions. So a lot of variety here, fantastic quality. I cannot stress that enough, inside and out. The pricing on these things, bar none when it comes to niche. So I highly recommend checking out Zaharoff if you haven't already. You're gonna have a link down below. That's our honorable mention. Let's dive into the other 10. Okay, so these 10 houses are going to be in no particular order. I know that might be disappointing. You want the drama. You want to see what house is my absolute favorite. It doesn't work that way. I don't have a favorite fragrance house. I have favorite fragrances from each house. And if I were to order them in that way, the houses would have nothing to do with it, really. So we're not doing that here, just talking about them randomly, but I did choose my 2 favorites from each house. First one up here is Cartier, totally underrated designer house. I don't know why they don't get much talk. Incredible quality fragrances. You can find them discounted. They're very unique smelling. They have some timeless classics. Incredible stuff. My 2 favorites right now have got to be L'Envol Eau de Parfum and Déclaration Parfum. L'Envol is a beautiful, sweet honey, but fresh, almost metallic and ozonic violet leaf fragrance with some woodiness, maybe a little bit of iris in here as well. It's a very handsome scent. It's a little bit on the softer side in terms of her personality, but there is an undeniable masculinity to it. It is just something you want to dress up, and it is incredible. It smells so unique. I mean, just this bottle alone is incredible. This thing weighs a ton. This beautiful mechanism that is very unique for an atomizer, so I think you really get more than you pay for with everything with L'Envol. And Déclaration Parfum, incredible flanker to the already legendary original Déclaration, which I did include in a recent video as a timeless masterpiece. This takes that DNA, that fresh, spicy, woody DNA. It uses a lot of cardamom and bitter orange and woods and cumin in that fragrance, which not a lot of people love. It kind of gives a bit of a BO vibe that is hit or miss for some. They take that vibe, the cumin is still here, the spices in general are intensified, the cardamom is toned down a bit so it's not quite as fresh, still has that bitter orange, and I believe there's some kind of like resinous quality. There's a darker balsamic kind of sweetness in here that is just more edgy, a little bit more perhaps elegant, more nighttime, I would say. Incredible stuff to wear on a night out when you want to dress up.
I know this is an annoying sound.
I'm gonna put it down, but check out Cartier if you've been sleeping on them. Do yourself a favor. Up next, we have the House of Roja Parfums. I have many fragrances from the brand that I've been gifted over the years. Yes, the brand has sent me fragrances to talk about in videos, but a few of their fragrances I did actually have a chance to sample before I had any relationship with the brand, so I did kind of choose out my favorites long before they sent me any bottles. One of those is Oligarch. I've loved this fragrance for several years. I used to have a travel atomizer, which I actually gave to a good friend, my friend Brandon, who actually loved this fragrance when I showed it to him in a video I filmed with my family several years back around Christmas time. I used to wear the atomizer all the time, and then Roja surprised me with a bottle, so I gifted the atomizer to Brandon. And this is probably my favorite fresh summertime fragrance from the brand. It is mouth-watering, but it is so rich and robust and complex. It is fruity, it is citrusy, it is woody, it is sharp and almost green. It is kind of authoritative. It is very professional smelling, but there's also kind of an alluring quality. This is one of those fresh fragrances that actually has a very intoxicating scent trail. You wouldn't associate that with fresh, but you got it here in Oligarch, and performance is great if you're looking for that, for a fresh scent. Wonderful stuff. Also, Scandal. I already fell in love with Scandal Parfum Cologne from the brand years ago when it came out, and they just this past year gifted me with Scandal, the Parfum version, the original. Just a stunning fougere. This is kind of in that barbershop vein. It's going to be spicy, it's going to be aromatic with lots of lavender, it's going to be citrusy and woody, a little bit creamy and sweet from things like coumarin or tonka bean. There's a tiny bit of an edge, almost a little bit of a funk in there, like a kind of a deep mossy funk, maybe oak moss or something like that. It's pretty intense, especially the Parfum version. The Parfum Cologne version is much more fresh and transparent, but this is my favorite one out of the two because it just packs a punch for a fresh, very handsome barbershop style scent. That's Scandal from Roja Parfums. Both of these are great. Again, plenty of others I could have included, but these are the two that have my attention. Okay, up next, the House of Dior. I have many fragrances from Dior, all of which I've bought. Dior doesn't send out free bottles. Also, same goes with Cartier. The Cartier bottles I showed you earlier, I bought those with my own money. And the Dior, actually one of these was a swap. And we'll start with that one, and that's Dior Fahrenheit Lip Parfum. I actually swapped this with my friend Kelvin for an extra bottle of Brass and Soul. I've talked about it before, I actually reviewed it. Incredible upgrade to the original if you're asking me. Still have that violet leaf from the original, which brings a very different kind of unusual type of freshness to the scent, but it's toned down here so it doesn't have that gasoline vibe that the original is known to have. They added rum, they added vanilla, they also added licorice. This is such an unusual combination of elements, but it comes together to be sweet, boozy, licorice. If you know licorice, then there's no really describing the smell of licorice. It's almost kind of mentholic in a way. It's sweet, but it's very unusual smelling. With that violet leaf kind of green freshness, makes for a very unique and very elegant fragrance. This is kind of a showstopper. Great performance as well. If you can still get it, I recommend getting it. I actually used to hate this fragrance. I've grown to absolutely love it. Dior Fahrenheit Lip Parfum, as well as the original Dior Homme. Yet another one I bought. I used to hate this fragrance as well when I first smelled it years ago. It only took about a year for me to come around to it and realize that this is a masterpiece. So I bought it several years ago. This is an endless bottle. I've worn it many times. I can't seem to put a dent in it somehow, but this is a classic. This changed the game for the designer market in regards to men's fragrances. I talked about this in my Timeless Masterpiece video as well recently. Check that out if you missed it. Kind of waxy makeup bag with a freshness, but with this chocolatey, leathery quality. Incredible stuff. Redefining what a fragrance can be. Dior Homme I'll never stop talking about it. It's amazing. From Guerlain, a lot of fragrances here I have not tried, so forgive me. I have most of my experience with the L'Homme Ideal line, along with some of the Aqua Allegoria line. We're talking about from L'Homme Ideal, the L'Intense, as well as the extreme, incredible takes on the original, which I do believe is kind of an underrated masterpiece. It was also in that video. Nothing smells like this DNA. Only within itself is there a likeness. And it's such a unique profile, but still very appealing. This takes the original creamy almond, almost cherry-like vibe with leather, tonka bean kind of thing. That's sweet, almost gourmand leaning, but not really. Very handsome with the freshness. They take that vibe and they make it super spicy and smoky with this one, and they add tobacco, I believe, in this one. They're both for cooler weather. They're both fantastic. I still prefer this one just by a little bit, but awesome release here as well. That's Guerlain. Tom Ford. Yet again, if you give me a video just on Tom Ford, actually I've done that with Grace. You should check it out there. These are two of my current favorites. Again, many I could have chose from, but I chose Tobacco Oud and Beau de Jour. This is tobacco with whiskey and spices, and oud, dark, sweet, but kind of brash and dry, quite spicy as well. Not the most appealing fragrance, a statement maker for sure. Definitely gonna turn heads. You gotta dress this one up and don't overspray it. And this is one that's on the opposite side. This is more bright and fresh. This is a fougere similar to Scandal from Roja, but this is a different type of fougere. This is more on the oak mossy side of things. Very mossy and dry. Lots of lavender in here. You have kind of an ambery warmth that's sweet, kind of hovering around in the background as it dries down. It gets more and more dry as it dries. I think this is an incredible fragrance. Yes, it smells like Davidoff Zeno, but it is way beefier than Zeno is currently today. There would be no this if there was no Zeno, but this is definitely an improvement if we do want to put the two together. Nonetheless, those are my two from Tom Ford that I love. Again, many others I could have chosen. Maybe we'll do an update video, but that's what we're dealing with. All right, Amouroud, a house you don't hear a ton about, a house that maybe some of you haven't tried. Great house based out of New York City. Two of my favorites from them have to be Lunar Vetiver and Santal des Indes. I've talked about this one quite a bit over the years, but it's been a little while. This is such a beautiful, rich, sweet, resinous, kind of dark woody fragrance. There's a sweetness here. There's a spiciness here. You have, I think, curry tree, which adds a very interesting, almost culinary like curry vibe, but it's well balanced with the sweetness. And again, it comes off as quite balsamic in a way. I don't remember if there's any balsams or resins in here. Lunar Vetiver I just talked about recently. This is an incredible duality of elements here. You do have this intense, spicy freshness. You have lots of citrus. I think you have some pink pepper, and you have pimento pepper in here, which is incredibly spicy, but it's made very fresh. The vetiver in here is more on the cooling, fresh, woody side of things, more like a Tom Ford grape vetiver, not so dry or smoky or leathery or anything like that. So it's a very accessible vetiver, but again, it is quite intense with the spices, and as it dries, it totally turns on its head and becomes sweet with tonka bean and vanilla. It kind of makes it so you can wear it every day. You can wear it anytime. It has elements of many different things that work in different situations, which makes it quite versatile, but it's still quite unique. What better combination is that? That is Amouroud. Both of these are fantastic. Gonna have links down below. All right, let's talk about Nichane. I bought both of these fragrances, and I love both of these. Now, one that you might be expecting to see is Ani, which is a beautiful fragrance. I have it, it's wonderful, but these two are my favorite. That's just what it is. We have Fan Your Flames, my original favorite here, and we have B612. B612 is a take on the fougere genre, but made a little bit more nuanced. There's just something different about this. It is not leaning in the traditional or old school style that the fougere can be. It is fresh, it is kind of herbaceous, it is creamy and woody and sweet, but there's no spices in here. There's nothing with an edge to the scent. There's actually a lot of cashmere wood, which brings this kind of warm, cozy, woody feel to an otherwise fresh fragrance that makes it very versatile. You could easily wear this anytime, anywhere. Again, it's kind of containing all the elements you would want in one fragrance, but mainly retains a bit of an elegance to it, so you could easily dress this up. I absolutely love B612. Beautiful scent for a fresh one. And Fan Your Flames, need I say more? This is also a timeless masterpiece to me. This smells like nothing else out there. Such a unique blend of components that you would not think work so well together, but they really do. Masterfully perfumed by Jorge Lee. It is tobacco with cedarwood, so dry, kind of earthy, leafy, smoky, but with a lot of sweetness from vanilla, from tonka bean and coconut and rum, almost making it like a tropical drink, but very much offset by this dark kind of woodiness that's a little earthy. Lots of oak moss in here as well. All these elements, they just come together, they blend, but you smell everything, but they are so cohesive, and it smells, some people say, like a hookah lounge. I can kind of see that vibe. Beautiful stuff, incredibly unique, also incredibly powerful, like many of their fragrances. Check out Nichonnet if you've been sleeping. Let's talk about the house of Argos. I've been working with Argos since they started. This was like 2017. I've been working with them. I've watched them really grow and develop. Christian Petrovic has really infused a lot of uniqueness into the brand by really having a focus. The tried and true triumph of Bacchus, I still can't believe how dark this fragrance has gotten over the years. It used to be yellow when I got this bottle back when it came out. Just succulent, juicy peach. A little bit of jasmine in there to round it out. Rum for booziness, sweet apple. You do have saffron in here, making it a little bit spicy, leathery, and you also have quite a bit of tobacco, but it's so smooth. Ultimately smooth, quite sweet, rich, juicy, mouth-watering, powerful scent, and it's perfectly unisex. And also we got to go with the newest release, Danier, also called Danae, depending on who you're asking. And this is one of the most secretly powerful fragrances I've come across. You don't think it's really filling the room until you realize after a few minutes, this thing is filling the room. I smell nothing else but Danier. This is a resinous, sweet, sticky warmth with a little bit of citrusy freshness and woodiness. That's mostly what I get. If you want to know more about it, check out my real world review that I did on Danier when I first got it in the mail. Incredible stuff from Argos. You really get what you pay for here. You do spend a little bit of a pretty penny. You can save some money though with my code FRESH10. Save 10%. Get you a sample pack. Try their fragrances, see if you dig them. That's Argos. All right, Théo Cabinel. Yet again, a house that is not making the widespread rounds around YouTube, and they've sent me many over the years. Two of my favorites so far. We have Barkhane from their original collection. The funny thing is, this actually bears a little bit of resemblance to the Amouroud that I talked about, Santal des Indes. They're different personalities, but they actually do share a bit of the same main components. This is also kind of on the woody side, almost smells resinous. You know, if you can imagine like being out in the desert and smelling the sand, but smelling like sweet balsams like myrrh and things like that in the air. It's kind of dark and it's dry, but there's a richness here. There is an elegance to this fragrance, but it's also kind of versatile. You could wear it to a number of occasions outside of anything super hot. Incredible stuff, deserves your attention. And same goes with Ooh La La, this stuff. Nothing smells like this. Tobacco and iris and hazelnut. You wouldn't think those elements would go together. We have saffron making it a little bit leathery, that woody hazelnut. You have orris root, which is basically iris, bringing this kind of buttery quality to the scent. You do have some tobacco, but tonka bean is the primary source of sweetness here, kind of tying everything together. It's like the glue to the scent. And it's sweet, it's warm, it's kind of buttery, it's nutty, it is delicious smelling, but it's also very sexy smelling. And anyone can wear it, it's perfectly unisex. Absolutely beautiful and cozy fragrance. That is Ooh La La from Théo Cabinel. Check them out in general. I'm gonna have them linked down below. As with many of these houses, I have many I could have chosen from. I chose these two. You ask me on a different day, maybe it would be different, maybe it wouldn't. But again, if I did a continuation, you'd just be able to see how much more I really dig this house. From Amouage, we're dealing with Beach Hut Man and Overture Man. Beach Hut Man, this was gifted to me by a friend a little while back, and this is an incredible fresh fragrance from the house. Maybe my favorite fresh fragrance from the house, but by fresh, don't get me wrong, this is not easy breezy out of the shower kind of soapy fresh. No, this is like green, herbaceous, masculine, mossy, woody fresh, very almost coniferous smelling, a little bit of myrrh in there to bring a bit of a sweetness that kind of adds texture and core to the scent, but it's mostly very green and minty. Incredible stuff. Beast mode. Be careful. This is a statement maker. This is a 15-hour fragrance. Easy, so you put it on at the start of the day. You won't have to worry about it. But give it some room to breathe. Very professional smelling. If you dress it up, it will do you well. That is Beach Hut Man. Overture Man. I bought this with my own money. I paid over $300 for this fragrance because I first smelled it from my friend Corbin. I loved it. I had to have it. It was only available in the UK, so I bought it. This stuff is incredible. It's not for everyone. This is definitely a showstopper. This is animalic. This is boozy. It's spicy. It's kind of resinous and woody. It's dark. Again, not for everyone. Not everyone's gonna really appreciate this, but if you dress it up in all black, especially at night in the cooler months, this is a head turner. This is gonna make you memorable. Who doesn't want to be memorable? So again, sample it if you can. It's dark. I'm telling you, this is not for everyone. You got a touch of grapefruit up here. When you first spray it on, it's a splash of freshness, but it goes away pretty quick and you're left with this animalic, boozy, woody fragrance that is, again, a little bit sweet and a little bit resinous, and it's incredible. That is Overture Man. So that's gonna do it for me. Those are 10 of my favorite fragrance brands and a couple of my favorites from each brand. I hope you enjoyed it. If you saw any of your favorites, let me know down in the comments, or if you have other favorites from the brands I've talked about, let me know that too. Let's talk about it. If you liked the video, please like the video. It really means so much to me and it helps out with my visibility. Please consider joining the Fresh Squad. It costs you absolutely nothing, and I would love to have you as a part of the squad. Join the rest of us, increase your freshness, be your best self in every situation. That's what we're doing here. It's more than about the fragrances. Fragrances help, but it's much deeper than that. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, the more you watch my videos, I think you'll get what I mean. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.